and they can conduct the preliminary studies that will feed into the bankability studies that you would eventually have to do.
All right.
Yeah.
So production of more data through research, and also training the next generation of researchers to go more into waste to energy. I'm going to come to Onana. I was at your plant on Monday. One of the questions I asked was, hey, what is the risk of an explosion here? And then he told me that, well, what the safety levels and everything are. And I'm sure people in the communities are wondering, what are the issues around safety and even emissions? How do you let people know that waste to energy is basically safe, and then people can trust what you are doing at your place?
Okay, thank you. People can trust the way we are trust to our process, because the first thing is our process is continuous, so we don't keep the waste in our plant for long. When we receive the waste, at the same day we process it. And
so if methane builds up for a long time, it can cause problems, right? Is that correct?
Yes. You have a storage system. Okay. Inside the storage system, you have some limit of the pressure. You have to monitor every time. Even on Sunday, we went on site we have two possibilities. The first one is to start the gas engine. And the second one is we are working now, we are building the green hydrogen plant that would use the biogas to produce green hydrogen through the technology steam methane reforming process. Yes, this is the process. The construction is ongoing now. We think in the few months all will be okay.
So constant monitoring to make sure that everything is safe.
Yes.
So, okay.
And even the organic material, when the organic fraction of municipal solid waste and other organic material are directly used in the digester.
Okay. Just before I come to Mr. Jima, I'm just curious, which of all the organic material that you bring that comes to your plant to be turned into energy, which one is the richest source of energy? Which one gives you the most output?
Yes, the most output is a combination. Okay. Only one type of organic material is not recommended. Mm-hmm. Yes, for the good gas, good quality of gas.
Okay.
The mix of cow dung, for example, the way we are using now, cow dung and other organic material coming from market, okay, food waste and restaurant waste. Okay. Yes.
So the cows do their business, and we can use their business to make energy.
Yes.
I love it. More cows are needed in the country to create more energy for us. Mr. Jima, let's talk about money now, because private sector investment is really, really important for us to go from one hybrid waste-to-energy plant to so many around the country.
Right.
If you were to talk to government about incentives for people to put their money into this investment, what kind of recommendations would you be giving the governments?
Well, maybe multiple recommendations, but I believe that I talked a bit about research and development. It's something that I believe a cost that could be off-taken by government through policy, so that reduces your costs of determining how much. That is one. Another is also having in other jurisdictions where they have tax breaks for R&D. So it is part of for those in accounting and finance, it is part of your items you can deduct, as part of your tax incentive, because you did a particular R&D into this space. That give you, or the private sector, opportunity to put a lot of money in there, because it takes a long time to really determine it's going to work. I believe Onana's project is more now in the research phase. And then when you commercialize it, then that becomes a problem, right? Because then he talked about quality of waste. And all those things impact your cost and ability to come out with a project like this. Another area that I believe, from incentives-wise, that will be able to, is also having the political will to be able to actually allow for proper fee charge. Because how are you going to pay for a project like that unless you have people paying or the government investing together through PPP, right?
Private, public,
Public,
private partnership.
in partnership.
Okay,
Very,
PPP.
very important, right? So because generally the waste is a function of a government. So if a private sector is coming in, then it has to be the ability to say, okay, we're going to invest our money, private sector money, for a long period of time. How is the private sector going to recoup?
When you say long period, how long are we looking at for such investments?
Yeah, so you're talking about not sometimes you're talking about 10 years. Some of this infrastructure go all the way to about 25 years. So if you do your return on investment sometimes, or how much are you recovering, you're talking about 7 to 10 years. And most banks, for instance in Ghana, will give you short-term financing. So it means that you need to find a way of investing in this project.
What is a short-time financing in Ghana?
No, so sometimes they say, oh, 2 years, 3 years. They don't go beyond. And you have a plant that is even minimum of 10. How are you putting in all the investment and wait for it to come? And then how is the government going to pay? That's where policy comes in. That's where the political will, to be able to come out with a way in budgeting that allow for this plant to be paid for through PPP arrangement. So that is one of the, for me, where, and I believe that all the manifestos we've read, both parties are looking into it, and I think that is one of the big ways, because anyone putting his investment is looking at how you're going to pay, and most of this through fees. So I think that if you all understand why some taxes come in through fee payment that will be given to private sector to be able to put their investment in, I think that is one of the areas where policy worked. I'll give credit to government. Policy-wise is very important. I know the Ministry of Energy, for instance, had come out with an energy transition, and DOC, I believe, worked on it. It gives direction. It gives a purpose, and that know where the government is going over a long period of time. And then an investor may choose which areas of the value chain that they will be able to invest in. So having the regulation, having the standards are all important, because if you are developing a project and you don't know the standards that a country is going by, then you are increasing your risk, because somebody may come one day and say that, well, you can't measure this in this way. Finally, for instance, if you are doing a retrofitting project, decarbonization also talk about adopting technologies that will help you. And one project we are dealing with is converting our diesel trucks to electric. And therefore, you need to invest in charging infrastructure. So ability for government to partner you, to be able to say that, well, that shouldn't be just only your cost, but we want to partner you so that you're able to deploy more charging infrastructure to a point where you are actually allowing penetration of electric vehicles, which has a long way of also helping you with your decarbonization. So these are all policy areas that I strongly believe that private sector need to be involved in this policy, so that at least they know the pain point. And therefore, government cannot put all their investment in projects like this.
Indeed.
And I think that these are the areas that we would have to suggest to government for policy standpoint.
Free advice from all my panelists here at this Climate Talks conversation on decarbonizing waste for cleaner energy. The hashtag to use is Climate Talks across social media. We're live on GTV at the hybrid waste investment in our audience. Okay, the table microphones work, so just press hard on the button and your microphone will work. I see a hand already. Let us know who you are, and then give us your brief question or comment. You should see a red light on the microphone showing that it's on. Please help him.
It's not working. Okay.
Okay.
Right. It's not working.
All right, so let's get the microphone to our person. When the question is hot, yeah. Please speak and see.
All right. My name is Dr. Mensah. I work at the Department of Agri-Economics here. I think the panelists have done a good job, but I was looking more for a broader discussion than, because you look as if we concentrated on solid waste from the household level. We have liquid waste, and we have actually gaseous waste. Waste coming from your car exhaust is actually waste. So we have various sorts of waste, and it can also come from different components of the society, not only from the household level, but from the industrial level, from the agricultural level, from various levels, right? And all these come with various challenges in dealing with them, and the financing aspect actually happen to be the greatest. So even if you talk about the household level, and I'm happy from Zoom is here. that green thing at the household level is very expensive to get it over there. Most people cannot afford it. The monthly charges are very expensive, but I can setting in to support household in these kind of things. As a matter of fact, I don't know whether Ghana we have a proper waste management and proper waste issues at the policy level, from governmental level. How do we tackle these waste from each of the sectors? So maybe going forward, we can look at some of these things as we look for the policy solutions in these discussions. Thank you very much.
Okay, Engineer Dr. Kwanzaa, you want to tackle this, or maybe Mr. Jima? A specific thing. Okay,
yeah.
So Mr. Jima.
Yeah, you're right. In terms of the waste categorization, there are multiple of them. So probably the conversation has centered on solid waste. But we do have a lot of plants that are liquid waste, right? Like you said, so those of you who might have lived in Accra years ago, we used to have what we call Lavender Hill, where you couldn't bypass those areas because we didn't have a system of treating liquid waste. So it is part of what we do, and you make a great point. Then you also talk about lack of certain technologies that will allow us to treat certain type of waste. I was making a conversation, I was in a conference, and we're talking about a technology that's been developed particularly or specifically for fish waste.
And does it go to energy?
Yes.
They're processing fish
Correct.
waste,
Yes.
fish heads and fish insides.
Exactly. So you might have heard me mention R&D.
Research and development.
A lot, because unless we invest in those areas.
And what does it, do you use it for energy?
We've been doing a lot of research in the energy space.
Yeah, because that's the focus of our conversation.
Correct, yeah. So because we want to ensure that at least we identify the technology and the type of waste that is coming. You talk about industrial waste. And if you are doing waste to energy that is using combustion, for instance, the industrial waste is much better because they have higher caloric figures. Then when you're doing waste to energy with organic waste, because of the caloric figures that are there, it prevents you from getting the type of energy you need to get to. So to his point, it is true. There's so many type of ways. One that we do, you talk about emission from diesel. And one major project, and please, you can Google, you go to CNN, and you put in Jospon Zero NOx project. You would see that it's been covered. So as we speak right now, to your point, we are leading.
I would still look at this.
Otherwise, you're just talking in the air.
Absolutely. Let me take off by agreeing very strongly with my senior colleague, Dr. Amos Mensah. Because one of the reasons I, at a point, had to state that when we talk of waste to energy, we are talking about different things. It's a big term that encompasses a lot. At the Blue Hammond Energy Center, we are active in quite a number of these areas, and I can tell you, if you take biogas, for instance, until recently we were running training programs almost every year, right? We had to, but we have paused because it's difficult running it on our own steam. But that's a waste to energy technology. It's a waste to energy option that is treating a combination of liquid and solid waste. We also are very active on biofuels. I mentioned that we're currently supporting government to develop a commercialization strategy for biofuels. And for those of you who are a bit knowledgeable in the area, the resource for biofuels is categorized into first generation, second generation, third generation, depending on whether they compete with humans for food or not and things like that. So there also we're doing some serious work on looking at the sustainability indicators, looking at trying to understand the economics of it. But government policy, I would always push from the point of view of an academic, I would always push for us to do a lot more demonstration. Okay, we should have a lot more demonstration plans, like Onana has,
exactly.
and we are glad to be part of that project. We are a partner to the project. So these would give us a lot more data so that when we are formulating policy, it is data-driven, right? So we would know, for instance, what kind of support to give to centralized waste treatment, waste-to-energy systems, those that are decentralized. How do you differentiate between support to, for instance, waste that finds its way into, cooking systems versus, waste that finds its way into, other conversion technologies. Yeah. So really, that would be my my comment on the brilliant point that my senior colleague made.
Thank you very much. There's time enough for just one more yes. You're not going to be my friend now because there's a lady and a gentleman. I'll go for the lady because the lady, we haven't heard any lady speak yet. So I beg you. Lady, go ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Patient Gambra, Kumantenka University, Mathematical Science. Somebody will ask, what is mathematics doing here? In fact, 2011, I did a study on plastic waste. So when I got this invitation, I said, purely I should be here. My question goes to the two panels from industry. Yeah, you were talking about the quality of waste and then your sorting time. So what are you doing in order to minimize the impure quality of the waste that you are recycling and then minimizing the sorting time? I will narrow it down to plastic waste. Nowadays, you could see small-scale industries buying plastic waste for reuse and recycling. Someone like Jaspon, I pay 50 cedis for my bin a month. Why can't you give me a discount of 1 kg of plastic waste? Let's say 1 kg 5 cedis. So that will be deducted for my monthly something. So that quality of waste that you gain from my house will be a bit more beneficial to both of us because yes, I have money, you also reduce your sorting time, and then the quality of waste that you gain will also be very good. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to do this rapid like Usain Bolt, so quickly because we have only 3 minutes. So, Onana, how are you improving the quality of the waste you're getting, which you are turning to energy? Briefly, in 30 seconds.
Yes, to improve, you have to work on the top, from the top. The problem here is the supply. You have to work on the supply chain of the waste. Because when we are sorting the waste from the home, the household, waste coming from household, we can get quality, more good quality of waste for our plant. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Jima, how do we improve the quality of waste? You have 30 seconds.
Fantastic. I think she brings up a very fantastic suggestion. By the way, I'm also a mathematician. So so the point is that what it is, like I talked about, because of our economy and inability for people to have disposable waste, we have to find ways creatively to collaborate with end users, right, through research to be able to say, okay, for this particular customers, how do we give back? And I think it's more investing in things like that to be able to say, as a businessman, I want to make sure that be able to, but since I'm able to get carbon credit, probably what you are saying is that we can disseminate the credit back to the consumer. So I think we can have collaboration with research, academia, to be able to see what are some of the opportunities that we could get to help reduce the costs of the source of waste, so that it gives us opportunity to have cleaner or more sources of wastes that are of high quality.
And thank you so much. And that's all we have time for on our conversation on decarbonizing waste for a cleaner energy. Please help me to thank all our panelists. Ms. Noah Jima is Chief Investment Officer of the Jospon Group of Companies. Achille Onana is Plant Manager, Hybrid Waste to Energy Plant under the Wascal project in Ashanti region. And Engineer Dr. David Kwanzaa, who is the Director of the Brew Hammond Energy Center. Let's hear a nice round of applause for all of them. Thank you to every single